Hello and welcome to today's joint partner webinar with Techavidity and CrateDB. Please give us a minute or two so more people can join, and we will start. All right, let's start. Hello, everyone, and welcome, and thank you for joining for today's joint partner webinar between CrateDB and Techavidity on the topic of open source log management for cybersecurity, Wazuh and CrateDB in action. I'm Stefan Assanin, Senior Technical Product Marketing Manager at CrateDB, and with me today I have Chander Ponusami, CIO at Techavidity. First, some housekeeping rules. If you have any questions, please use the Q&A function in Zoom to send them. Do not use the chat. We will not see the questions in there, and we'll address these questions at the end of the webinar. The session will be recorded and, of course, shared with you afterwards. And if you have the time and want to, please fill in the feedback survey at the end of the webinar. So today's agenda is we will start off with a just brief introduction, who I am, who Chander is, and then we'll move on to CrateDB, who CrateDB is, and then we'll look briefly into some topic-related challenges and trends, and then we'll move on to partner presentation, which is Techavidity, of course, and Chander will also take a lead on the demo, talking about the solution design and the demo itself. And then in the end, we'll have the Q&A. I'm Stefan Assanin, Senior Technical Product Marketing Manager at CrateDB. I have a background within IoT development, IT architecture, solution engineering within cloud native. And with me today, I have Chander. Chander, please introduce yourself.
Sure, Stefan. Okay. Myself, Chandra Ponusami. I am the principal of Techavidity. I have a technical background across different domains and industries, and I lead the company and drive the technical strategy. So as we are today focusing on CrateDB, we will walk through the use case, how we can use CrateDB in the cybersecurity space. Back to you.
Thank you, Chander. Let's start off with talking a little bit what CrateDB is. CrateDB is known as a distributed database, but it's lately expanded to offer a unified data layer as a managed service on AWS, Azure, and GCP. It's built for scale, speed, and flexibility, combining the SQL familiarity with NoSQL agility to handle massive real-time data. And it supports all possible data types, including structured, unstructured, vectors, and time series, delivering the right data at the right time. And from the moment data is ingested into CrateDB, you can run complex, high-performance queries across large-scale datasets. You can use the full-text search to organize search and analyze unstructured content, or you can apply vector search to capture meaning and context from images and text for your machine learning powered applications, or you can combine them with hybrid search to get the speed of vector search with the flexibility of traditional search, and that without any compromise. And because it's all powered by native SQL, your teams can work across data types without specialized skills, and this will reduce the complexity and resource dependency. And at CrateDB, we work hard to ensure that CrateDB has a good integration ecosystem and partners where we together can give you full control so that you, as a customer, can future-proof your analytics, search, and AI investments. And just to mention, because the topic today is cybersecurity, I just want to mention a little bit about what we do at CrateDB in that field. So everything we do at CrateDB has a special focus on security, including our core database product, CrateDB, our cloud offering, CrateDB Cloud, and our integrations and our customer partner support, of course. We make sure that your data is handled with care by enterprise-grade security with granular role-based access controls and advanced secure communication protocols. And by protecting, we do this by protecting your data in all stages of its life cycle. So we have encryption at rest, we have encryption in transit, and by using HTTP endpoints and or Postgres SQL wire protocol, we enforce the SSL connections. Okay, let's take a look at the type of challenges and trends we have with today's topic. So if you look at the trends, we see that the organizations are increasingly adopting open source security tools due to its flexibility, transparency, and cost effectiveness. We also see that the real-time log analysis and alerting systems are key to minimizing dwell time and mitigating the impact. And security teams are leveraging also the observability stacks for proactive monitoring and anomaly detection. For that, they use logs, metrics, and traces that are being unified for holistic visibility. And then we also had the cloud native aspects of things and hybrid environments. So with distributed systems and remote workforces, security data is more decentralized than ever. So building scalable cloud-ready solutions, they will gain more traction for handling massive data volumes in real time. And then the challenges itself. So you will have massive log volumes that can overwhelm teams and tools, leading to alert fatigue and missed threats. You have also the combination of open source tools for full stack visibility that's been challenging to do without dedicated expertise or documentation. And many teams lack this kind of in-house expertise in managing or customizing open source tools effectively. And this is something that Techavidity can help you with. They're really good with. So I will hand over to Chandler.
So, Stefan, thank you for introducing us to the webinar. So quickly describe about us. Okay, as we are based in Dallas, Texas, and we have offshore team back in India. We specialize in CrateDB and DevOps and digital experience, cybersecurity space, along with open source solutions, and also the common BPM practice. As we get into the technical space, we evolve every day and get into the new technologies, new trends, adopting the open source standards so that we can emerge over the time. Okay. So let's go back to the next slide, Stefan. Okay, I think now we are getting into the stage where introduce our use case scenario, why we are here. Okay, as we evolve and open source technologies, Wazuh cybersecurity product is open source product. We can unify Wazuh CrateDB as the new alternative solutions compared to ELK and OpenSearch. And so this will be the architecture. Wazuh agents can be installed on any endpoints. Endpoints can be laptops or servers or network, firewall, anything, any device we want to monitor. We will instrument Wazuh agents on the systems so that they will send the logs to Wazuh server. Wazuh server, it's open source cybersecurity product. It will analyze the log received from the endpoints, and it will protect the systems. It will create the anomaly, and it will find the rules based upon the scenario where we need to take any further action, or we want to monitor the endpoints, what's happening on those endpoints. So this will generate the log file. It's a JSON format is enabled. So we can use the log file as the source of truth for upstream products like CrateDB. How we are integrated Wazuh server with CrateDB is we are using another open source product called NX log collector. What it does is it will monitor for the particular file. It will read continuously, and each record it will insert into the CrateDB. As CrateDB is Postgres support enabled, and we can insert the data as soon as we receive the logs from the endpoints analyzed on the Wazuh server. Once the data is stored, we can use Grafana to build the dashboard so that we can view the data effectively. So in the right side, we see the users always access the Grafana and CrateDB. They can see the data in the browser. They don't need to install any device on their system. Next slide, Stefan. Okay, just further to enhance the architecture of Wazuh, here as I mentioned, the endpoints is any device would like to monitor so that they can send the data to the Wazuh server. The Wazuh server can be installed on a single system, or it can be installed on high available system where master node and worker node can form high availability cluster for continuous monitoring. So once the Wazuh also has the open they built dashboard based upon open search, but that requires other additional skills. We are here to integrate Wazuh server with CrateDB so that we can use existing SQL knowledge as it supported the Postgres. It will be easy to query the data so that we don't need to learn another new skills. So that way, right? So we end users can use Grafana and CrateDB to view the data and they can take further action. Next slide, please. Okay, so as I talked about NXLog, so it's an open source log collector, and that will be sufficient for us to gather data, and it supports multiple inputs and outputs. Okay, the input can be any device it want to monitor the data, and it will monitor the data. If required, it can parse and transform. But for us, okay, we do not to transform anything. We can just, as it is, we can store the JSON log file, as CrateDB can do the parsing or the formatting because it's Postgres enabled, and we can fine tune the data using the SQL query again. And as it supports NXLog, many of the operating system, so we can install Wazuh on any system, and we can finally we can use NXLog to read for the log file coming from Wazuh. See, if you right side, if you look at the configuration, we are using JSON parser. So input file, we are reading the alerts.json file, and output we are storing into CrateDB as it's Postgres enabled, so we can use the Postgres protocol, and so that way, right? So the data is read from the file stored into the database.
All right, thank you, Chandler. Thank you for this. I think it's time maybe for you to show some more live demo. So I will stop sharing.
Sure, Stefan. Yeah, let me share the screen. Okay, so. So we have installed the Wazuh server, NXLog. For this scenario, for this webinar, we are installed all the components on this system, and this will be the Wazuh component. So here, Wazuh supports open source. Wazuh is an open source product. It supports more customization. By default, they provide all the features. Suppose if we need any new features, we can customize the product. How the Wazuh reads the log file, analyzes and triggers the alerts is based upon decoders and rules. So decoder, basically it will use the regex pattern to find out the log format, and it will read the file, and the rules, it will reference the decoder file okay, this format exists, okay, this data is formed based upon the particular rule set, it will trigger the alert. Suppose if you want to customize any rule set or decoder, we can do that. So let me just quickly show the option here. So this will be the core configurations where we want to monitor the log file and what format. It supports by default plain text and JSON, so that we do not worry about any format. And alerts, so by this is the log alert level. For this scenario, we are just configure from 1 to 12. So just we kept as 1 so that it will generate more data, but we can fine tune the alert level. And second thing would be like, so let me just go back to the log file. So this log file, alerts.json file, it will be generated based upon the endpoint sending the data to Wazuh server. So this file is being read from the NX log. So as we saw in the screenshot, so this is the file being read and it will insert into the database. So let's go back to the database admin screen where we will be storing the data over here from the endpoints. So if you look at see, it stores the 50,000 records. So when it stores the records, we are storing it as object file so that we can extract the data for a particular field. Okay. So if you look at here, so each record can be extracted. So this is by default. Wazuh provides the template for indexing the data. The same data available over here. So if you want to know the agent name or agent ID or what kind of rules being triggered, we can extract the data. So from the base table, we created the views for building the dashboard, and we just create the different views here. For example, if you want to know the Docker events, so we have created the view query to extract those specific fields for the Docker, and we create the view. So this view can be used in the dashboard to build the nice UI front, like what's happening with respect to Docker. So this pulls the record, and these records can be used for building the dashboard. Now we covered the Wazuh, NX log, and CrateDB, and the next thing would be like Grafana, where we can see the data over here. As this is Postgres enabled, we can use Postgres data source for connecting to the CrateDB, and we can build the dashboard for different categories. So for example, let's go with the container health alerts. So as if you want to monitor Docker, and so we can install the agent on the Docker system where it expose all the Docker images and everything. So this will be one of the endpoint. So this will be the endpoint. So we are connecting to Wazuh server. So what frequency we want to monitor Docker? So we can configure all the values over here. So once the data is configured, right, it will send the logs to CrateDB. Okay, now let's look at these health alerts. Okay, so we are extracting the timestamp, agent name, where it's running, and the container name, and what is healthy status. All these status we can get it from the view which is stored in the CrateDB. So this is the continuous monitoring. So it provides real-time data from the logs to the CrateDB. CrateDB is continuously receiving the data, and we can pull the data. We can build a nice dashboard based upon the data. So we can also monitor the Docker, the images, like how much CPU is using, memory usage. This all can be monitored continuously. This can be used as a metrics to monitor the system along with cybersecurity configurations. So this one, okay, let me, because we saw the container one, and we wrote the custom rules. For example, any application, if you want to monitor using Wazuh, we have to write custom rules and decoders, because Wazuh may not have all the configurations by default. For that, we have to write custom decoder, and we can instrument any custom applications. Here we have used HCL DX portal as we used for our customers. So we would like to demonstrate how we can use the Wazuh for integrating cybersecurity scenario. So here, let me go back to the CrateDB, and I'll show you how we can write the custom decoders. So this will we will write the custom decoder so that it will read for the particular log file based upon the format, and it will send the logs back to Wazuh server. This will be the decoder. So we can see, okay, from the, we can group the rules and we can give the numbers. So for custom numbers, it should be it should be about 10,000, 100,000. So we can see the rules being referring the HLDX log as the decoder, and it will check for any value in the log file, and based upon the pattern, it will trigger the alert. Right now we are configured for, okay, A is audit, and so E is error. So we have just configured different rules over here. Let me just quickly go back to the Wazuh server on how we can read the log file from the alerts again. So the logs are being sent to Wazuh server, and once we have logs available here in Wazuh server, we can read this data into CrateDB, and finally the Grafana. That's why we are able to see all the log file. So we can see, okay, how much level, the severity level, and how many alerts are being generated. So we can get all the data from the browser here, like what kind of error, what kind of rules it triggered. Okay, like 10011. So these are rules, right? Based upon the rules we configure, it will trigger the alert. Okay. So this is for the custom applications. We can monitor using Wazuh, and we can integrate with CrateDB and Grafana. Let's go back to the alerts. This will be a simple alert like how many alerts are failed, and we can get the data over here. Suppose here, right? So every day we can how many alerts are being generated based upon the alert count. We can build the dashboard. Okay, this is the dashboard to compliance. Okay, if you take the look at the Wazuh documentation, and so they have, we can regulatory compliance. Okay, like what is the compliance? Okay, how we want to track down for each category. Okay. For this, right? So we have built the dashboard like GDPR, like what category, how many alerts are being triggered, and this is a TSC category, like how much count is being triggered. Okay. For NIST, right? For each category, how many alerts are being triggered, like that way, right? We know okay what's happening on the endpoints. We can track it down. And this is for just HIPAA violations, okay, like for each category, right? If you look at here, we can monitor the HIPAA compliance on the endpoints, okay? So they have different format. So we can, all these compliance data, we can monitor for the particular endpoints. So we can, the next dashboard, we can see okay, how many times the rule got fired, what was the severity level, and what's the record per hour. So we can, this is for last 6 hours. Let's go back to the last 7 days. Okay. So overall record, right? Like 50,000 records are being generated. So we can build the dashboard from the raw data for any custom requirements. So as we have here, yes, we see the table, right? So we can extract the schema. These fields are being indexed either in OpenSearch or ELK. But here we are directly storing into the database. We can use our existing SQL capabilities to build the efficient views. That view can be the source for building the dashboard. Just let me just will quickly go through the one runtime demo. For example, right? So let's take the container one. Okay. So in order to monitor the Docker, right? So we need to write the decoder for Docker. And at the same time, we can create a rule for each category. Okay. we are doing a stress test for the image. So while it's running, so we can go back to the Wazuh documentation, like how we can see that, okay. So for each category, right, for regulatory or cloud security, Wazuh provides the all the features for cloud native applications. For example, AWS or Azure or Google, we can monitor these endpoints. For today's webinar, we just took one scenario, but we have tremendous use case available here to integrate Wazuh with any endpoints. It could be a legacy one or it could be a cloud-based one, and we can monitor all the devices. Okay. For this one, with respect to cloud security and with respect to regulatory compliance, and also we have a proof of concept where we can monitor for the Docker or file-based monitoring or anything brute force attack, uh, malicious attack, or SQL injection. So there are many features we can monitor. Okay. For example, vulnerability detection. So we can monitor for any vulnerability being present in the endpoints. That way we can take action once it's being identified. Let's go back to the Chromium. So it's still running for, okay. Now if we go back to the dashboard,
You need to refresh here, Chander, or?
yeah, I think it's freeze on there. So okay. Okay, the game back. So we are I think we did the stress test on the Nginx, okay, and the tests were completed. So I think it's got refreshed. Okay, I think so. We have covered all the scenarios how we can use effectively with Wazuh, with CrateDB, like from the data, the JSON data, what is being used for analyzing the threads or metrics. It can be stored into the CrateDB, and from the CrateDB we can build the dashboard using Grafana for visualization.
Really nice. Thank you, Chander. And quite an extensive demo, I must say. Really nice to see. And I think it's nice to see that Wazuh. So just some questions. So is this from the solution architecture, did you use two agents for this demo or just basically one JSON file that you pushed through the system,
No,
solution?
for this demo, right, we
Yeah,
are using 6-7 agents that will send the data to Wazuh server,
yeah.
and that is being analyzed, okay, for each category, like compliance or cloud monitoring or any threats, right? That is being analyzed on the Wazuh server. So Wazuh, what it does is once it receives data from the endpoints, it will analyze the log file, and it will store the data in the form of a JSON file. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
anyone would like to analyze further, like for categorize or building the dashboard or anything, they can use the data. Okay, so as soon as we receive the data from the Wazuh server, right? So NX log will read the log file, and it will send the data to CrateDB. And by default, right, Wazuh, they use FileBeat for indexing the data, and the indexing FileBeat as a shipping tool like NX log in
Mm-hmm.
their default architecture. So we have taken a different approach where we are using NX log as we have the custom Postgres format. So that's why we are use the NX log to store the data from Wazuh server to CrateDB.
Mm. It's really good. It's quite interesting to see Wazuh in action, and especially as it covers all the big cloud providers out there. You have Azure, you have AWS, and everything, and that it's basically flexible in that way that you can turn on and off the monitor that you want. So it's really nice to see. Let's move on to Q&A because the time is flying, and I kind of remind the audience, if you have any questions, please use the Q&A function in Zoom, not the chat. And let's start with some of the first questions here for Techavidity. How does Techavidity enhance or customize Wazuh beyond the base open source version?
So it's a good question, Stefan. So as we saw in the demo, we have used customization for any products. Okay, in our scenario, we have used HCLDX. It's running on IBM WebSphere WebSphere App Server runtime. So we wrote custom rules and decoders to instrument so that Wazuh can monitor the endpoints and it will generate the alerts. Okay, so this will be one of them. Okay, for any, our team is capable of doing the Wazuh customizations depending upon the customer need. Okay, we have skill in Wazuh extensively from the system implementations as well as the customizing the product. Okay, as it's open source, we do not have any concern about licensing. Okay, how we want to use compared to Splunk and other commercial products. Okay.
Great, thank you.
And also here, right, so Wazuh being open source, uh, because normally the commercial vendors, they will charge for the volume of data being stored. Okay, but here we do not need to pay anything. Okay, it's open source. Even CrateDB is open source, and all the products what we use here all are open source.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see here. A question to CrateDB. I will answer that one. How does CrateDB handle performance when dealing with millions of log entries per day, which is a kind of scenario here. Now we had like 56,000 records, I think, within a certain time frame. So CrateDB solved this by using a distributed share nothing architecture that scales horizontally. This means that you can add nodes as data grows. So in that sense, it's supporting the growing volume of log entries, so to speak. And it's also supporting automatic sharding and replication, which will ensure fault tolerance and high availability as well. What is your experience of using CrateDB in this solution, Chandler?
Yeah, I think it's scales very highly efficient, Stefan. Okay, because it's shared or nothing architecture, right? So we can add CrateDB nodes runtime, and it will the data being distributed, and it's quite easy to scale up the clusters, okay? Because and the performance is now right now we saw here, right? It's on single node, okay, it's running very efficiently for the POC concept. For production, right? If you have multiple cluster and we can inject millions of rows and very efficiently, and it performs very performance is very good, Stefan. Okay.
Yeah.
And it supports on open environment like cloud native. For example, right now we are installed CrateDB on all the products on the legacy VM based one, and we can instrument the same architecture on the Kubernetes. Either it could be a public cloud or on-premise cloud. Okay, we can build the efficient clusters on the CrateDB, and it scales up very efficiently. And also, right, so for any scenario, so CrateDB is here, we are using time series as the one of the use case. For CrateDB, I think we can use the full text and vector database, and we are planning to do further webinar on the vector database, how to use CrateDB in the vector database space.
Nice to hear. Nice to hear. Let's see here. How is Techavidity supporting organizations in maintaining and scaling their open source security stack? So that's maybe a broader question, but it's part of your services, right? Consulting services and things like that. Can you explain more, Chandler?
Sure, Stefan. Okay. So as we are skilled up on the open source space, in the cybersecurity line of products, we are use Wazuh and OpenLDAP, ForgeRack, all the Keycloak. So all the cybersecurity products, right? We are providing the services for it could be managed services or on-demand basis. We can assist the customers and building the simple environment to complex environment where we can host the applications on the Kubernetes based environment. We also provide consulting services for any customers who want to customize the Wazuh products or any open source cybersecurity products. We are able to provide the service.
Great. Let's see here, another question. I think this one is a good one. Probably the kind of question I would ask if I would, start deploying Wazuh in my organization. So what are some of the lessons that you have learned from real-world Wazuh deployments that others, the audience, me as well, should know before getting started?
Yeah, before they start on Wazuh, and first they should identify, they should design a plan how they want to protect the environment, like depending upon the industry sector, like whether it could be HIPAA or PCI, any compliance based one. And so they should know the compliance category, like which category they want to protect their applications, so that any personal data should not be revealed or attacked from the any malformed user. And so they should know the requirements and match the requirements with the product support categories. For example, Wazuh is open source and it's supported for most of the categories. So they can map the requirement first, and they should start with a simple environment and see because Wazuh has the category like small, medium, large servers, like what would be the minimum amount of memory required, server requirement. So they should start from the single, and they can scale up further because it's very easy to scale up. And ideally, okay, for going with any product, right? First, we can start with small, analyze, okay, how the product can be useful, beneficial to the business, and then scale up further.
Okay. And there's a question here probably related to this one. What kind of support or managed services does Techavidity offer around Wazuh, also CrateDB for organizations with a limited in-house expertise?
So any customers, right, who would like to use a Wazuh or CrateDB, and they can approach us. We have the subject matter experts to help you to enhance the solutions for their business. Okay, it could be so development, or it could be infrastructure where they need to set up the environment, and whether we can take care of us, or they can use their technical team to enhance the or add value to the business. Okay, so we are here just one call away, and they can just either reach out to us through email or phone call, and we are able to help. It's the help can be small or can be large. Suppose the customer is running into issues, or okay, they want to solve the issue right away, so they can reach out to us, and we are here to help, and we have built the expertise over the time frame. That's Stefan, back to you.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's nice to see you. Thank you, Chander, for being here today and explaining Wazuh, Techavidity, and what you're able to do within log management, cybersecurity. I also want to thank the audience for joining, and I hope you enjoyed the webinar. I thank you, Chander.
Thank you so much for the people who like to join the webinar. Okay, and it's I hope you will take the technical expertise what we said during the webinar, and thank you once again for joining the webinar.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stefan.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.